More than 1 million people have fled Ukraine in the week since Russia's invasion. Thousands of Africans were part of the exodus, scrambling to get over borders to neighboring countries. Governments from South Africa to Democratic Republic of the Congo are working to help their citizens out, some dispatching diplomats to Ukraine's border to aid students. These young Tunisians were among the first groups of students evacuated to Tunis. There were many difficulties. It was a complicated adventure. It was a war situation with exceptional conditions. It is a disaster. We lived a real nightmare. I am very happy because my son returned. I'm also happy for others. We hope that all our children will make it back. Russian forces shelled the Ukrainian capital Kyiv and second city Lviv. Meanwhile, Africans were airlifted from neighboring Poland, Romania and Hungary, where people fled the conflict. Ghana's Foreign Minister Charlie Bochwe received home repatriated students.
Evacuation options were limited as Ukraine closed its airspace at the start of the military operations. This left as the only viable option evacuation by land.
Around 16,000 Africans study at the university in Ukraine. Some have denounced racist treatment by soldiers and border officials who gave preference to whites. I can tell you the soldiers who are there and the other security agents, they tell you, you are going to stay here, you are fleeing the war. Stay here, you are going to fight with us. You're not going to leave, especially you black people. These are the stories that are being told, and no, you can't hide them. African governments have called for better treatment of their citizens. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba tweeted that Africans are friends and need to have equal opportunities to return home.
Hundreds of protesters demonstrated against French group Bolloré on Thursday. Responding to the collective Burkina 2050 call to march, demonstrators rallied in the streets of Ouagadougou. They protested over the management of local railroad Citarail. The French Bolloré group is the main shareholder of the railroad as well as its manager. The Burkina 2050 consortium demanded the group be stripped of its managing role, citing its inability to commit to its word as stated by the framework agreement the Bolloré group signed. The deal planned the repair, the building as well as the exploitation of the railway connecting Abidjan to Kaya and Tambao to Burkinabe cities. Consortium Burkina 2050 suspects the group did not undertake the work because the French firm heard of the launching of another railroad connecting Burkina Faso to Ghana and feared for the cost-effectiveness of its own project. The railroad was first opened in the early 1900s by the French colonizer. When the West African countries gained independence, national companies managed the Citarail. However, in 1994, it was privatized on the advice of the World Bank. The new Burkinabe authorities have yet to settle the argument.
Hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets of Burkina Faso's capital Ouagadougou on Thursday to denounce what they described as the abusive exploitation of the railways by French group Bolloré. The protesters demand the cancellation of the contract with Bolloré's subsidiary Citarail. We do not agree. We want Bolloré to leave. They just have to leave. We will manage our trains, our rails, and they only have to fix the rails before leaving. All the money they took here, they just have to fix the tracks before they leave. We are tired. We are fed up. No, no and no. It is time for Bolloré to leave the Burkina government in peace, especially France. Especially France. Terrorism is the threat. Economic terrorism is still in the city. Why? We do not agree. Works on the railway line Abidjan-Kaya-Tambao were due to start last September. But so far, nothing has been done. The demonstrators demand action. For 27 years, the Burkina state was putting money in. It fixed the rails. It put everything back in operation so that they could take over management, and they had to work and repay. They did not repay. They promised to invest 262 billion and nothing to refurbish the railway. They did not do it. It's been 3 years since they were supposed to start. Now they don't want to do it anymore. They want to sell the railway, the management, to someone else. It's cheating. According to the organizer of the protest, Bolloré delayed the operation because the start of works on the Tema-Ouaga railway could affect the profitability of its investments. The Libyan parliament's pick for prime minister has accused his rival in Tripoli of blocking ministers in waiting from traveling to Tobruk in the east of the country, seat of the assembly. Former Interior Minister Fatih Bashagwa was appointed last month by the war-torn country's parliament. His administration was scheduled to be sworn in this Thursday. Reports in the Libyan media suggest that two members of the cabinet, approved by parliament on Tuesday, were detained as they headed to the east of the country. Since 2014, that Libya's parliament has been operating from Tobruk, following the uprising that toppled Muammar Gaddafi. In February last year, Abdulhamid Beiba was appointed head of an interim government with a mandate to lead the country to elections. He has refused to cede power, except to an elected government. The 4th of March marks 10 years since huge explosions rocked the neighborhood of Mpila, in the capital of Congo, Brazzaville. The blasts at an ammunition and arms depot killed at least 282 people and wounded over 2,300. The devastation caused by the explosions led to more than 25,000 displaced. 10 years have passed, but many of the estimated 17,000 victims are still looking for suitable accommodation. In September 2013, 6 military officers were sentenced for arson and threats to internal security. Last year, the government paid compensation to around 1,000 victims. More payments have been promised for 2022. The reconstruction of the Mpila neighborhood is officially estimated to cost around 355 million euros.